You think you're just running in to grab some milk, right? Maybe a loaf of bread, maybe a few things for dinner. But the second you step through those sliding glass doors, you're not in a grocery store. You're in a behavioral science lab. Welcome to the most manipulative retail experience you face every single week. And you probably have no idea it's happening. Everything from the layout to the lighting, the smells, even the direction you're walking, is a psychological nudge, a carefully choreographed performance. And you? You're the shopper who thinks you're making your own decisions. Spoiler alert, you're not. Let's start at the very beginning. The entrance. Ever notice how you can walk in easily but leaving empty-handed feels weird? That's no accident. Subtle architectural cues, like entrance-only signs, layout bottlenecks, even psychological tricks like floor texture changes, create what's called a metaphorical door. It's a one-way mental valve. You've just crossed the threshold, and your brain now registers this space as a destination, not a pit stop. Walking out without buying something? That feels abnormal, so you don't. Once you're in, you're eased into what industry insiders call the transition zone. You know the one. It's that bright, beautiful, almost calming space filled with glistening produce and the perfume of fresh flowers. That's not there for your health. It's there to slow you down. Think of it like a decompression chamber for your senses. It's designed to reset your mood and prep your brain for the hunt, so you linger, wander, and eventually spend. But here's where it gets wild. Nearly every major supermarket is built to push you counterclockwise through the store. Ever notice how you almost always enter on the right and exit on the left? That's not random. Studies show that people spend less money when they shop clockwise. Why? Because clockwise movement activates more logical, analytical thinking. Counterclockwise? That taps into your emotions. Your impulses? That's where the money is. It's not just about direction. It's about timing, too. Because before you ever reach your must-haves like milk or eggs, you'll have passed thousands of temptations. Candy bars, seasonal decor, that random fancy mustard you didn't know you needed until 5 minutes ago. And the reason you even passed them in the first place? Anchor products like dairy and meat are deliberately hidden in the back or along the store's far edges. To get your basics, you have to take the scenic route. Here's a little insider term, end caps. You've seen them. Those flashy product displays at the end of every aisle? They're the eye candy of the supermarket world, heavily advertised, strategically discounted, and often misleading. They look like limited time offers, but many are regular priced items with clever signage. You were never planning to buy 3 tubs of salsa until they stared you down on the way to grab tortillas. And what about those impulse buys at checkout? Those aren't just random add-ons. That's a last-ditch effort to score one more yes before you escape. Gum, batteries, travel-sized Tylenol, products with high profit margins that are tossed into your line of sight while you're bored and distracted. It's a trap. And it works. Think you're smarter than all this? Maybe, but the grocery store has more moves. For example, what shelf are your eyes naturally drawn to? That golden spot, right at adult eye level, is prime real estate. It's where the most profitable items live. Not the best value, not the most nutritious. Just the products that bring in the biggest bucks for the store. Want the cheaper, generic version? It's probably gathering dust near the floor because they know most of us won't bend over to find it. And don't think the top shelf is innocent either. That's where they place gourmet or specialty items, just out of easy reach, subtly suggesting they're rare or exclusive. You'll work harder to grab that truffle oil, and because of that effort, you'll subconsciously value it more. But let's go back for a second, because remember that counterclockwise thing? There's a deeper pattern hiding in plain sight, and when you see it, it changes how you shop forever. And trust me, it only gets sneakier from here. Stay with me, because in the next part, We're going deeper into the science of temptation, how stores use your own psychology against you, and how even your shopping cart becomes a tool to manipulate your brain. You're going to want to hear this. But let's talk about that cart you grabbed on your way in. It's not just a basket on wheels. It's a behavioral weapon. Empty carts aren't neutral. They're psychological vacuum chambers. When you're rolling around with nothing in it, your brain is more open to suggestion. It's called selective attention. You start scanning for things to fill that void. And what's the first thing you roll past? The produce department, vibrant colors, fresh smells, a waterfall of mist glistening on apples. That's not ambiance, that's strategy. Fresh fruits and vegetables are placed at the front of the store for one powerful reason. They look healthy and virtuous. By tossing a few in your cart early, you give yourself permission to make worse choices later. It's a phenomenon psychologists call moral licensing. Buy spinach now, grab double fudge brownies guilt-free later. And here's the kicker. Stores want you to buy fresh produce because it spoils fast. That's not just your fridge playing tricks, it's economics. Spoiled produce sends you back to the store sooner, where you restart the loop. It's a genius move when you think about it. Perishables generate repeat foot traffic. And every trip is a new chance to manipulate your wallet. Let's move down the aisles. You'd think essentials like bread or cereal would be easy to find, right? Nope. These core items are hidden halfway down the aisles. Why? So you have to walk past as many other products as possible to get them. That frozen pizza, that double pack of cookies, that sparkling water you didn't even like last time, all lined up like little speed bumps for your resolve. And the placement isn't random either. High-profit items get the best shelf space. The middle zone, the area at eye level, is the sweet spot. Products there sell up to 10 times more than ones on the bottom. That's why brands pay for that placement. It's called slotting fees, and yes, it's basically supermarket bribery. Want to be seen? Pay up. Meanwhile, generic brands? They're low. Literally. They live near your shins. Because let's face it, most of us are lazy. We'll grab what's in front of us before we crouch to compare prices. And if you think stores don't know that, you're underestimating how deeply they've studied your every move. Even the width of the aisles matters. Too wide, and you feel aimless. Too narrow, and it's uncomfortable. But just right? That middle ground nudges you to slow down. And while you linger, your eyes do the wandering. Stores even manipulate lighting and temperature depending on the section. Warmer, near baked goods, to make it feel homier. Brighter near fresh foods, to make them pop. It's all about creating environments where you say yes without realizing you're being asked a question. And this next tactic? It's downright devious. They rotate inventory, not just to keep things fresh, but to keep you searching. That cereal you always buy? Moved. Now you're hunting. And while you're scanning, guess what happens? You notice other products you might not have thought about. That hunt leads to discovery, and discovery is retail code for unplanned purchases. Ever wonder why the store layout feels familiar, but somehow different every time you shop? That's intentional. Grocery stores quietly redesign flow patterns every few months, introducing just enough change to disorient you without driving you away. It's the perfect psychological sweet spot, disrupted routine masked as familiarity. And if you're shopping while hungry, game over. Hunger increases reward sensitivity. That means your brain starts craving everything. Your cart fills faster, you're less logical. Suddenly, 5 kinds of cheese and novelty snacks feel like priorities. Stores love hungry customers. They're gold mines with credit cards. But even if you've made it this far, list in hand, tunnel vision focused, they've got one last line of defense, the checkout gauntlet, that narrow path flanked by candy, lip balm, gossip mags, and energy shots. It's a war zone of temptation. You've made dozens of decisions already. You're tired. Your willpower is tapped, and that's when they hit you with the final impulse buys. The data shows a significant percentage of store profits come from this exact moment. The kicker? Most of us don't even remember adding those last few things. Think you're immune? Think again. We're about to go deeper into the minds of grocery chain executives, the behavioral consultants they hire, and the billion-dollar psychology that turns your everyday shopping trip into a masterclass in subtle manipulation. And what you're going to hear next might change how you shop forever. Keep watching. So now you're in the belly of the beast. You've made it past the flowers, the fruit, the bakery section, with its intoxicating aroma of fresh bread. That's no accident, by the way. Smell is one of the most powerful memory triggers we have, and supermarkets weaponize it. The scent of warm cookies or piping hot rotisserie chicken near the front of the store, that's engineered hunger. Even if you weren't hungry before, you are now. And hungry shoppers, they spend more, always. But here's where things get even trickier, because the longer you're in the store, the more fatigued your brain becomes. Decision fatigue is real. Every choice, paper towels or napkins, organic or conventional, chicken thighs or breast, slowly wears down your self-control. And as that mental energy dwindles, your resistance to unplanned spending fades with it. By aisle 7, you're way more likely to toss in that novelty popcorn or buy the 2 for $6 item you didn't even want in the first place. Let's talk about those sales for a second. Buy one, get one free. 3 for $10. Sounds like a deal, right? But these aren't sales. They're psychological triggers. They activate scarcity, urgency, and reward centers in your brain. Even if you only needed one, you grab the second free one because your brain says, why not? The fine print. That deal might only save you pennies. And in some cases, it's not even cheaper than buying a single unit. And then there's packaging. Bright colors, fonts that scream natural or artisan, tiny icons of leaves or happy cows. Those are visual lies. Many brands use what's called health washing to trick you into thinking a product is good for you when it's not. Multigrain sounds healthy. So does fat-free. But flip that package over. Look at the sugar content, the sodium, the additives you can't pronounce. Marketers know most people won't. They're banking on your trust and your speed. And about that speed, it slows down the deeper you go. That's right. Stores are zoned by shopping pace. Up front, it's wide open, brightly lit, easy to navigate. But as you move toward the middle and back, things get tighter, darker, more cluttered. Subconsciously, this slows your pace, increases browsing time, and boosts the odds of additional purchases. It's like quicksand. The longer you linger, the more you sink. Here's a dirty little secret. Some stores even use deceptive product pairings. They place chips next to salsa, crackers next to fancy cheese, pancake mix right beside maple syrup. These are called cross-merchandising displays, and they exist to plant ideas in your brain. You came in for one thing, and now you're building a meal around it. But the biggest manipulation of all? It's data. Modern grocery stores are tracking what you buy, when you buy it, and how often you come in. Your loyalty card? That's a Trojan horse. You think you're getting discounts, but the store is getting something far more valuable. A profile of you. Your habits. Your weaknesses. What time of day you shop. Whether you buy when things are on sale or full price. Whether you fall for end cap displays or ignore them. And this data doesn't just sit in a spreadsheet. It's weaponized. Stores use it to retarget you with ads, to tweak layouts based on how shoppers like you move through the store, to test which version of a promotion works best on your demographic. They're not guessing anymore. They're engineering your behavior in real time. It's why that cereal brand suddenly disappeared from eye level. Why your usual frozen meals were replaced with trendier packaging. why you keep getting coupons for things you never bought, but almost did. Even colors have meaning. Red signals urgency and savings. Blue promotes trust. Green equals health. The color of the shelf tags, the signage, even the uniforms of store employees, it's all chosen to influence your mood and behavior. And if you think kids are safe from this, not even close. Sugary cereals placed at child eye level, cartoons on packages, mini shopping carts made just for them. Because what happens when a kid begs for something in the store? Parents cave. Supermarkets know it. They bake that into their strategy. At this point, it's fair to ask, is anything in the store not designed to manipulate you? The answer? Not really. But, and this is crucial, just because they've built the trap doesn't mean you have to fall into it. Knowing what you're walking into is your first defense. Because in the final part, we're cracking open the last layer of manipulation. It's not just about what you buy, it's about how you buy it. Self-checkout, coupons, even payment methods are all part of the game. And when you see what's really happening there, you might never look at grocery shopping the same way again. You've made it through the maze. Your cart's full, or maybe fuller than you planned. You're heading toward the checkout, but guess what? You're not done being played yet. The checkout area is where the supermarket pulls its final psychological punches, and they're some of the hardest hitting. Let's start with the options. Self-checkout versus cashier lanes. Self-checkout feels modern, efficient, maybe even a little empowering. But here's the kicker. Studies show people spend more at self-checkout. Why? Because there's less social pressure. No one watching your cart. No one silently judging you for tossing in that extra candy bar. You're alone with your choices, and that solitude, it makes splurging feel safe. And then there's the line itself. While you're waiting, what do you see? A wall of last-minute temptation. Snacks, soda, lip balm, lottery tickets, magazines, all high-margin, low-risk products designed for bored eyes and tired brains. They call it impulse zone merchandising, and it's worth millions. By the time you're waiting to pay, your decision fatigue is maxed out, and retailers know it. Now let's talk payment. Ever notice how many stores subtly discourage cash? Digital payment is faster, sure, but it's also psychologically detached. When you swipe a card or tap your phone, the pain of spending feels abstract. There's no physical exchange of money, no tactile sense of loss. It's like buying with Monopoly bills. You spend more and you feel it less. And don't even get me started on rewards programs. They seem helpful, right? Points for purchases, coupons for loyalty. But behind the scenes, they're a data vacuum. Every time you scan your card, the store learns more about you. Your purchase history is cross-referenced, analyzed, and used to shape how the store interacts with you in the future. You're not just a customer, you're a profile, a living algorithm. Here's the part that's really wild. Stores can predict when you're most likely to shop impulsively. Are you a late-night buyer? A Saturday morning wanderer? A midweek, post-work pit stop type? They know, and they tailor offers, layouts, and even staffing schedules around patterns like yours. Now zoom out. Think about what all this means. From the moment you walk in to the second you leave, your behavior is being nudged, studied, and monetized. Grocery shopping isn't just about food anymore. It's behavioral engineering at scale. And most shoppers, completely unaware. That's the scary part. Because when manipulation feels normal, we stop questioning it. We stop noticing how stores rearrange aisles just often enough to make you hunt. How special deals are just regular prices in louder font. How our own habits are used against us to keep us coming back. So what can you actually do? You start by noticing. Awareness is your biggest weapon. Make a list before you shop, and stick to it. Don't shop hungry. Try using a basket instead of a cart if you only need a few things. Pay in cash if you really want to feel what you're spending. And always, always, Look above and below eye level. That's where the value hides. Be wary of bulk discounts you don't need. Buy more, save more. Only works if you were going to buy more anyway. Otherwise, it's just paying extra for things you might not use. And take back control at checkout. Self-checkout might be convenient, but it's also a hotspot for impulse buys. Try the regular lane. And take those extra 30 seconds to mentally review your cart before you pay. Above all, remember, this isn't about paranoia. It's about power. Because when you know the game, you can stop playing it on someone else's terms. You don't have to be the ideal customer, emotionally triggered, overstimulated, and quietly drained of your budget one shiny item at a time. You can walk into a grocery store and shop like a ninja, calm, focused, immune to their tricks. Because now you know what's really happening. So next time you stroll past that end cap loaded with can't-miss deals, or reach for that perfectly placed box of cookies, ask yourself, is this my choice, or did they choose for me? And if you're ready to start seeing through the food industry's manipulations, don't stop here, because supermarkets are just one battlefield. There's a whole world of products, packaging, and profit-driven psychology out there shaping your decisions every day, from what you eat to what you believe is healthy. So if you want to go deeper, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. And just when you thought the shopping trip was over, think again. Because that bag of groceries you just brought home, it's not just food, it's a story. A story written by marketing execs, food scientists, and behavioral analysts who know exactly how to steer your choices, right down to what's inside your refrigerator right now. Let's talk packaging. That box of cereal with the big whole grain badge. That doesn't mean it's healthy. It means it contains some whole grain, just enough to legally slap the label on. And it's usually buried beneath layers of sugar and additives. It's what marketers call front-of-package theater. Bold claims, shiny graphics, but never the full picture. Want the truth? Flip it over. The back of the package, the fine print, the ingredient list. That's where the skeletons live. But most of us don't look, because the store has trained us not to. They've bombarded us with so many buzzwords, natural, gluten-free, cage-free, low-fat, that we've stopped asking what those words really mean. And the sad reality? Most of them mean nothing. Natural has no legal definition. Cage-free doesn't mean the animal had a good life. It might have just been able to turn around. Low-fat often means high sugar. No added sugar could still mean packed with artificial sweeteners or sugary concentrates. These labels are a smokescreen, and they work. Even colors and fonts are coded manipulation. Green means health, blue means trust, red triggers urgency. Brands use handwritten fonts to imply small batch or homemade, even if the product was churned out in a factory by the ton. That rustic label, that barn on the box, it's a vibe, a lie, a very profitable one. And this gets to the heart of it all, because the grocery store isn't just a building, it's a behavior lab. And the products inside aren't just food, they're carefully engineered decisions, designed to bypass your logic, to hit you in the gut, in the cravings, in the nostalgia, in your deepest instincts. Everything is optimized for one goal, your wallet. So let's connect the dots. You were guided into the store in a specific direction to activate impulse buying. You were hit with sights, sounds, and smells that encouraged you to linger and lower your guard. You were funneled past products you didn't need, made to feel guilty, comforted, inspired, all in a 40-minute psychological roller coaster dressed up as errands. And you left with more than you planned, again. But now, you're awake to it. That's what they don't want. An aware shopper. A customer who sees the illusion, who asks questions, who doesn't fall for the buy more, save more illusion, who knows the cheap brands are near the floor, and the healthiest choices don't always scream from the box. Because here's the truth, no store will advertise. A mindful shopper is a less profitable one. They don't want you shopping from a list. They don't want you skipping the end caps. They don't want you asking why the milk's in the back or why kids' cereals always feature characters with eyes tilted down, locking gaze with your child. That's not by chance. That's target marketing for 3-foot-tall humans. This rabbit hole goes deep. And supermarkets are just the beginning, because every aisle, every shelf, every sign is part of a system designed to keep you buying, whether it's good for you or not. And if you're thinking, wait, how far does this go? You're asking the right question. Because once you start pulling on this thread, you realize something bigger. Your food choices, your health, even your idea of what a good deal looks like aren't entirely your own. They've been molded by decades of subtle influence, disguised as convenience. But knowledge? That's where power begins. So take this with you next time you shop. Notice the traps, challenge the habits, push back against the invisible design, and most importantly, spread the word. Because the more people who know how this system works, the less power it holds. Share this video, talk about it, call it out. Let's rip the curtain back together. And if you're ready for more exposés like this, where we take on everything from food fraud to packaging scams to fake health trends, you know what to do. Subscribe, hit that bell, and get ready to never look at your kitchen the same way again.